Welcome into the Sports Objective Podcast, 50 Pirates in 50 Days, coming to you early here on a Wednesday morning. As you see there on the top right corner of your screen, I am rejoined by my impromptu co-host, Jay Sonhalter. Jay, how are you this morning?
I'm great, Bubba. Great to be here with Kort and you.
Absolutely. Appreciate you coming on. And like you said, you're here with one of your former teammates, Kort Shankweiler. Kort, how are you this morning?
Doing great. Great to see Jay again. Appreciate you having me on, Bubba. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. We appreciate your time. Appreciate you coming on. And right off the bat, let's just start with the elephant in the room. I know here a little over 2 weeks ago now, the Patriot League made the decision to postpone all fall sports. So, and you're obviously included in that, being in your second year at Lafayette College up in Pennsylvania. So just talk about everything that's going on.
Yeah, so the Patriot League decided that it was best to try and push towards a spring season, just with the uncertainty around everything right now, and the way the landscape's changing daily, and just the variety of news coming out from different parts of the country. It was just the league felt in the best interest of the kids and the people who support the programs to kind of push things off a little bit and reevaluate everything come springtime, and just hopefully we can get something going then.
Kort, so with the kids, obviously they're preparing, and even though they weren't on campus, they're getting ready for fall camp because that's what they always do. How did they react to everything, and then what's it going to look like for them training and getting ready for the spring?
Yeah, so our guys, when we went into quarantine back in the middle of March, they got all kinds of workout information from our strength coach, and they've really been working hard, back home this entire time. They did things like they created their own Twitter pages and stuff like that, position groups, and kind of showed each other working out. And guys just found ways to be creative, to maintain the strength level they were at before they left, and then to also build upon that while they were at home. So they've been working hard, and with the anticipation of coming back this fall. But with that kind of put to the side for now, they'll continue with that program. Our strength coach will, update things a little bit, and then guys that are back on campus will certainly get a chance to use our facility and stuff like that. So they're full steam ahead. They've done a great job as far as just taking it day by day and controlling what they can control, which is just trying to be in the best shape possible whenever they say, we're ready to go, that they're in position to be able to ready to go play a football game. So they've done a great job, and, we really appreciate the effort on their end.
Yeah. How's it been for you and for the other coaches, just with all the changes? It seems like every day something's changing, and, just kind of being flexible with, I guess, really the communication with the players, the Zoom, and just really how you're used to seeing everybody every day, and now it's completely different.
Yeah, I wish I'd have bought stock in Zoom before this whole thing started happening. I wish I had that foresight, but yeah, the Zoom meetings and Google Meets and all that sort of stuff has been critical for us. We've actually been able to install our offense 2 different times now. We treated what would have been our spring practice days as meeting days, where we're able to get the guys together, go over the offense, kind of install everything. And then this summer, when the NCAA allowed us the addition of the incoming freshmen, hopped into those Zoom meetings. And so we have, my position in particular, we have a quarterback coming in. So it was good for him to get into those meetings and be able to get all that information. And give him really some study material up until fall starts and we see what's next. But the Zoom meetings have been good. They've certainly been critical to helping us maintain course and find ways to get better. And just like you said, the way things are changing all the time, it's just an easy way to get everybody together at once, even though we can't be in the same place. And just, relay any information that we have on our end back out to the guys so that they can start to plan, accordingly for what they got to do. Yeah, it's been a much needed technology at this stage for sure.
So, Kort, kind of shifting gears on obviously your dad, Steve, Coach Shank, as he's often referred to, so well known with Pirate Nation in his fourth stint at East Carolina, and fifth head coach, now in his second year on Mike Houston's staff. So just talk about growing up, CK, as Coach Ruff would always say, a coach's kid, and your love for the game of football and everything that your dad has done in his 40-plus years in the game.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess some somewhat unique situation, to be in with a dad who's a college coach and then be able to follow in his footsteps. But just being able to grow up in that lifestyle where, you're bouncing around all the time. But for us to be able to call one place home, certainly Greenville is that, which in this business, it's hard for people to say that, you got a hometown. But for us, our family, certainly that's Greenville. I know he's excited to be back. My oldest sister lives in the area. She's got 3 children. So, he's able to spend time with them. And, my wife is from Raleigh. So when we go back to North Carolina, certainly that makes it easy to get over Greenville to see my parents. And, it's been a blessing for us. To be able to watch East Carolina grow from 1987 when he first got there to what it is now has been, exciting. Just in the time that I've left and gone back to Greenville, as Jay and I were talking off air, it's just the city's just seems like it's booming. There's something new every time I go back. So it's been fun to watch that. Obviously there's been ups and downs between then and now for him. As far as, where we've been and stuff like that. But, it's just been exciting to see everything from the Peach Bowl till now. And, certainly a game that everybody always likes to talk about. And, I think hopefully they'll get back to that standard.
And Kort, so you went to Rose High School and then, went on to East Carolina. So you knew about the program and kind of knew the inside, all the inside history of ECU. Did you always know you wanted to go to ECU, or did you kind of keep things open?
Yeah, I think deep down I did. There's always the, what else is out there aspect that you always want to try and to, explore a little bit, which my dad and I did once one summer going into my senior year. I guess we went out to a couple places. But, like I said earlier, it's just, you feel comfortable with a place, and certainly you feel comfortable, at least I did in Greenville, having, watched East Carolina and been around the program and seen the coaches that were there, the players that were there. It's just hard to say no to an opportunity like that. So, I think deep down it was always going to be there, and certainly glad that, that's what I ended up doing.
So, Coach, you were coming into the program in that 2002 season, and like Jay referenced and I had referenced early on, your dad had already had those 2 stints and 3 different head coaches, Art Baker, and then obviously Bill Lewis in that Peach Bowl season when you were pretty young, and then 98 to 02 on Steve Logan's staff coming back. So just talk about during those years, some of the awesome moments you had the opportunity to see, like the Peach Bowl or the 99 win over Miami and Raleigh and some of those things, and how that may have impacted your decision. Yeah,
so I was pretty fortunate from that aspect. I was able to basically I was down the field for a lot of that 91 season. I was just old enough to where I knew the rules of where to be and where not to be. So to be down there for that was certainly special, to Fulton County Stadium. And, prior to that, beating South Carolina and Pitt and those teams. And, just to see that from down the field at, I was 8, 9 years old, something like that, I think. So it was just awesome experience. And then when we came back in 99, or we came back in 98, and then the 99 season, with the flood and everything that happened there. And then to be on the field against Miami at NC State and, watch us beat them and the way that we did beat them coming from behind like that. Obviously, that showed the spirit of the East. And certainly to be down the field and see that happen. And, I think that's, probably one of the greatest recruiting tools there is. But certainly to be down there for that was awesome, and was really blessed to be able to see that from that perspective.
And so, Kort, you saw so many great wins and knew so much about the program. But whenever you go, to your first day of practice in college, or that adjustment period, there's always a huge adjustment. Was there a huge adjustment for you since you already knew the program, or was that made much easier with your experience?
I think having known the program certainly helped. Obviously, I knew a lot of the guys that were currently on the team, so I wasn't stepping into a totally different environment where I didn't know anybody. And knowing those guys that were on the team helped in that transition. And, the biggest adjustment that any kid has to make going from high school to college is just the speed of the game and the strength of the guys you're going against. But just from a comfortability standpoint, it made it a lot easier just already knowing the coaches, already knowing the guys. That helped with that transition for sure.
Yeah. So at Rose, you played quarterback, correct? Yeah. Did you play any other positions?
I played quarterback the whole time. Played a little bit of defense, 9th and 10th grade, just because you don't have numbers at the high school level where everybody can just afford to be in one spot. So, I played a little bit of defense, and then once I settled into being the starting quarterback, it really just kind of stopped from that point, and just finished out at that spot.
And you played baseball as well?
Yeah, so we played baseball all through high school. Obviously, great program there with RV, and was able to be a part of some really good teams. And it was just a lot of my friends still today grew up playing baseball together. So certainly enjoyed doing that.
Was baseball something, was there any consideration of playing it in college, or was it always football?
There was at one point, but it just the commitment to football and trying to be as good as you can be in football, particularly when in baseball I was really just my senior year just pitching, and those don't really correlate well together to just being a pitcher in baseball and trying to play football. Just from everything you're having to do from a strength and conditioning standpoint, it's totally different. And so I decided that football was the way I wanted to go, knowing that eventually I wanted to get into coaching. So I decided to stick with football, but it was definitely something, that I thought about and talked about, but happy with what I ended up deciding to do.
And on the football side of things, you're playing for Greg Thomas, and we actually spoke with Jordan Davis, East Carolina's a former lineman for the Pirates back in the Russell McNeil era. And Jordan played for Coach Thomas down in Florida in the Tampa area. So just talk about playing for him. I know your senior year you played in the Shrine Bowl.
Yeah, Coach Thomas, obviously a former Pirate, and certainly had a good impact on me as a player. Just a guy who, demanded the most from you, but did it in a positive way. And, obviously he's had success continually throughout wherever he's been, whether that's, at Rose and then going down into Florida, being successful down there at a couple stops. So definitely a guy who's impacted me and kind of helped form me as a player, and then certainly, instilled some of the toughness and stuff like that we try and teach our guys today, and me back, at Rose. So certainly appreciate everything he did to help me get going.
So when you're coming into the East Carolina program, 2002, Steve Logan's 11th year at the helm, there was a little unrest there with the administration. We certainly won't get into all that, but the reason I even bring that up is because that was your first year with the program, and obviously your dad was on that staff that was let go. So just talk about how difficult that was on going in. And yes, it's part of the business, but I can only imagine how tough that was for you playing your freshman year, well, redshirting that first year with the program, and then all of a sudden your dad and that staff to let go, and Coach Thompson is brought in.
Yeah, you know, unfortunately it's the nature of the business we're in, and it's more than just coaches that get affected by it. Obviously, they all have families that get affected by it too. But you know, I realized that going in, that you know, when you decide on a college, the reality is, you know, the guy that you're going to play for may not be your coach the entire time you're there. So like we tell kids all the time in recruiting now, you just got to be comfortable with enough with the school to where if that does happen, you know, you feel like you're in a good space. And I certainly felt that way with, you know, the guys on our team, who I'm still friends with today. And, you know, just being around them certainly helps. But, you know, it's what it is. And, you know, you just keep going and you roll with it. And, you know, the only thing you can do is go out there and try and be the best teammate and player you can be. And, you know, the systems change, but if you just keep working, you know, stay at the grindstone and keep going after it, you know, you'll be all right. But, you know, the guys that came in with Coach Thompson's staff, you know, they treated me well. They knew I was in a bit of an awkward spot, but they certainly didn't hold that against me, and gave me every opportunity. So, you know, certainly appreciative of that. And, you know,
So you talk about that transition. You were a high school quarterback, and then I know early on in your Pirate career, what you spent time at fullback and maybe tight end, or at least tight end. So you were getting on the field a lot during those 2003 and 2004 seasons on the special team side of things. So just talk about your first experience as a Pirate getting on the field.
Yeah, I think, you know, growing up and, you know, wanting to one day do that and then being able to live that out is certainly a great experience. You know, one I still look back on and enjoy quite a bit. You know, we had our freshman class that came in was, you know, pretty talented group. Particularly James Pinckney was the other quarterback that came in that class, who ended up setting, you know, records during his time there. So I knew if I wanted to play, I was going to have to do something different. And, you know, at the end of the day, you know, we're all competitors at that level. And to stay at ECU and to find a way to get on the field, you know, that was an avenue I had to go down. Certainly glad I did. It gave me the chance to, you know, contribute on special teams early on. And then by my senior year, able to earn a starting spot as a fullback. But, you know, it was a decision that, you know, I'm happy with. And certainly all the coaches along the way helped me with that process. And, you know, I enjoyed it. And it, you know, gave me a chance to play for the Pirates.
So, Kort, you know, when I talk to people that you know are outside of football, I don't think they understand, you know, how hard it is to learn an offense or all the details of each position, you know, what you have to learn and really just, you know, how tough it is to play the game as far as from the mental aspect. You've had to play quarterback where you're the smartest, you know, you have to be the smartest guy on the team, know everyone's position, know how to call plays, know, you know, really know everything. And then you also play other positions too. How much did learning, you know, how much did being a quarterback help you when you were tight end and fullback? And then how does that help you even now in your coaching career, knowing different positions? Because it's so tough.
Yeah, it is hard. You know, particularly it's, in my opinion, and, you know, obviously a lot of others, playing quarterback's the hardest position in sports. Yeah. You got to know 10 other people are doing on top of what you're supposed to be doing. And you got 25 seconds before the snap to process all that. And then once the ball snapped, the people across from you aren't going to be in the same spot that they were when you walked up to the line of scrimmage. So having to process all that information, so quickly, certainly demands a lot of, mental capacity and the ability to process information at the quarterback position. So it's extremely difficult. So I think that certainly helped me as far as my transition. I kind of, particularly in the passing game, I was able to understand probably a little bit more than some people, how to run the route, what the quarterback may have been seeing. I think that certainly helped me, move to a position like tight end. And then it's helped me today because I've been able to coach a variety of positions in my career, and I can draw back on that experience of both having played quarterback, played fullback, and played tight end. Just in my career path, I've been able to coach running backs, tight ends, receivers, and quarterbacks. So I think just going back to those playing days certainly helped me understand where the guys I'm coaching, when they have questions, you're able to relate with them, maybe a little bit better than somebody who didn't play the position. So I think that's definitely been something that has aided me throughout not only my playing career, but, through my coaching career up to this point.
Yeah.
You talk about drawing on other experiences after your redshirt sophomore season. Unfortunately, Coach Thompson and his staff didn't show enough visible improvement. At least, like you said, they brought in some excellent talent, guys like Chris Johnson, who would end up making a huge impact on the program. But just talk about going through another coaching change, and Terry Holland and the administration made an excellent decision bringing in a previous head coach in Skip Holtz.
Yeah, I think Coach Holland obviously had some great feel for the program and what it needed to do to get going in the right direction. And certainly bringing Coach Holtz in did that. He came in right away, and the guys bought into him. We were just hungry for a chance to find success. And Coach Holtz and his staff was able to formulate a plan, and the guys, we all bought into it. We did it. And certainly that laid the groundwork for the next few years of success that eventually led to, conference championships and things like that. So it was a good transition, obviously looking back on it, and something that certainly helped East Carolina go in the direction that, was positive for everybody for the next few years.
And Kort, so when Coach Holtz came back, your dad came with him from South Carolina on that staff. How special was that for him to be back at ECU and then, again, have an opportunity to play for him and learn from him and spend time with him?
Yeah, it was. I guess the benefit of being a coach's kid growing up, you kind of you kind of have an idea of what's happening come coaching carousel time, I guess. So we had talked, and there was some talk that Coach Holtz was involved with the job. And certainly, he felt good that, if he did get the job, that he would be coming back. And fortunately, that's the way things played out. And like I say, anytime, he could come back to Greenville and what's essentially our hometown is awesome. And it was certainly, he probably enjoyed coaching his son more than his son enjoyed playing for him, but no, it's good. It's fun. We've been fortunate to me as a player be on staff with him, and then me as a coach be on staff with him. So it's been fun from that aspect, and certainly was glad they were able to come back to Greenville, and glad it worked out the way it did.
So in 2005, there was a little uncertainty with James Pinckney from an academic standpoint. Fortunately, he did what he needed to do. But I know in the spring you were at quarterback, you and Devon Drew. I vividly remember that spring game, and just talk about that situation. And then I know you got in a little at quarterback that year up at West Virginia.
Yeah. So, Devon and I were at quarterback that spring. And luckily for us in Pirate Nation, James did what he had to do. It was fun. And again, I just, whatever I could do to help, I was going to do it. There was just two guys that could go play quarterback for that spring. And we kind of needed to go, we need somebody to play quarterback to able to function. So I moved back, enjoyed it. Devon obviously transitioned into a different role as well and made the most of that. It was fun to get back there and do that again. And, then to go up to West Virginia and play out there and be a part of that was certainly fun. And, I'll go down as 100% completion percentage of my ECU passing career. So got that to hold on to, it was, a unique situation, and, it was fun. I enjoyed it, and just, playing football is always fun. So whatever I can do to go do that.
And Kort, so that, 05 season, your junior year, then 06 senior season, we saw a big shift, with more wins coming, culture change, and just everything that goes in to building that winning program. What do you think was the biggest thing that really helped change and shift that over and equaling more wins, and then turning that into a bowl game in 06?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think it starts with culture. Coach Holtz and his staff came in and did a great job of doing different things than may have been done in the past. And you saw it too, Jay. Eventually, guys just get the old adage: you get sick and tired of being sick and tired. So, whatever we got to do to win, let's go do it. And the first year that Coach Holtz came in, give a lot of credit to those guys on that played their senior year, Skip's first year. Like Richard Coons, Guy Wimper, Chris Moore, those guys, certainly great leaders. And that just kind of trickled down to us. My senior year, with the guys we have with, Eric Graham, James Pinckney, Casey Ross, Kevin Roach, Bobby Good, all those guys, certainly, just got tired of what it was, and did what we had to do to win. And, I think that the buy-in's the biggest factor to the culture, and we bought in, and it worked.
Yeah, some of my best memories are some of the toughest times, after winter workouts or summer workouts, being in the locker room, or just like out of spring practice when it's, a battle all day long, and, we're all kind of going through that together. But that's where kind of like the true leadership and the guys that are the most respected kind of, that's where they really stand up. And I know everybody. Kort was the most respected guy on the team and worked so hard, and everybody looked up to him. But those are some of my best memories, like where we all kind of bond together during those tough times.
Yeah, it was those summer workouts with Coach Golden, man. It'd be 100 degrees out there, and then they'd throw us on the turf where it's now 115 degrees. You feel like your feet are on fire from out there running on it. But everybody'd come in, and we'd just be sprawled out across the locker room, just still gasping for air 45 minutes after the workout.
Searching for Gatorade.
Yeah, just trying to track down Mike Hanley wherever he is. Can we get some more water over here, please? But yeah, it's the hard part while you're playing. But like you said, when you look back, it's also probably the funnest part. Just because you're around everybody, and everybody's seeing each other work, and it's just the fun aspect of things, and particularly during the summer where you may be only taking one or two classes. For a lot of us, that's as closer to the NFL as we'll get, where it's really just about football. So, that's certainly one of the the parts I always look forward to the most, unlike the winter conditioning part.
Yeah.
Kort, before we transition and talk about your coaching career and everything you're up to now and your path to Lafayette, one question I had is just specifically on, earlier we referenced some of your top memories from your time as just a Pirate fan growing up as a coach's kid, but what were some of your top memories in the Purple and Gold, whether it's a specific game or that process of getting the program back to a bowl in 2006 or whatever the case?
I think, a big one for us was going to beat Southern Miss at Southern Miss our senior year, because, it was always previous years, East Carolina and Southern Miss were always basically the guys with the target on their back in our conference. And then we fell off a little bit. So be able to go down there at their place and beat them in overtime, I think that sort of, at least gave the players a feeling of, hey, we're back. So I think that win down there was great. Obviously, you get a team like Virginia to come into Greenville and to get after them like we did that night was awesome. I think Jay went off that night. I think Jay probably had almost 100 yards of receiving or something that night. So my current boss, our head coach here, John Garrett, was actually on staff at Virginia at that time. And then our running backs coach had just left Virginia the previous year. So he still obviously follows them and knows a lot about them. So every now and then I just remind those guys what happened to Virginia when they came rolling into Dowdy-Ficklin in 2006, just in case they forget. So I think to beat a team like that and certainly, like I said, to go down to Southern Miss and beat them. And then, we didn't win it, but to be competitive with West Virginia until the very end when they were number 4 in the country, I think spoke a lot of, how close we were to being, a bowl team early in the season. And then, that kind of just trickled its way through the rest of the year.
And you talk about that Virginia game. The memory that sticks out with me about that one is Ryan Daugherty's touchdown down in front of the Murphy Center. Yeah,
that was a field goal, I believe. I think I was a wing on that one. It was good for Daugherty.
Just seems like he went around to the left side, and it seems like there was a little kind of a scrum, and all of a sudden Ryan bust out of it into the end zone.
Yeah. And then he had a little dog pile on him down there in the back.
Yeah, a little aiding the runner.
Yeah.
What, Kort? So, obviously your senior year playing fullback and special teams, and I was over at tight end and playing special teams with you too. What was that experience like, your senior year, just having, the team be successful, you being a leader on the team, and then you going out there and having such a big impact on our offense?
It was certainly great. I think our senior class just wanted to sort of build on what the senior class did prior to us and, lay a foundation for success. And I think our senior class did that, because I think we went to a bowl game, and I can't tell you how many years it was after that, but for quite a few years after that, continue to go to bowl games and eventually win championships. To look back and claim to be part of that, class that sort of turned the tide a little bit is certainly something special.
Kort, transitioning into your coaching career, I know it actually began at the Coast Guard in 2007, and then you had the opportunity to be a GA at Michigan State on Mark D'Antonio's staff. So just talk about your path, giving us the Cliff Notes version at every school, especially highlighting that 2013-16 run at FIU, where you had the chance to be on staff with your dad, which you referenced earlier.
So when I got done playing, obviously I wanted to get into coaching. Sent out probably 250 plus resumes to everywhere, just trying to get a graduate assistant position. Wasn't able to land one. And then I didn't even realize the Coast Guard played football. And then my dad goes, well, why don't you go? I know a guy up there. And Ray LaForte was the offensive coordinator who was actually a GA on the staff for the 91 season at East Carolina. So I sent my stuff to Ray. And fortunately, he said, hey, we got a spot. If you want it, it's yours. I said, great, I'll take it. Was there for a year coaching receivers, then transitioned to Michigan State as a graduate assistant coach. Was fortunate there to work for a great guy like Coach Antonio, who obviously, did a tremendous job of doing what he did there. And learned a lot from him, not only as a coach, but as a person, father. Worked with the offensive line and Coach Rochar, who's been the offensive line coach for the New Orleans Saints now for quite a few years. And so was right place, right time. The running backs coach there, Dan Enos, got the head coaching job at Central Michigan. He brought me along with him. So served as the running backs coach, recruiting coordinator there for 3 years. And then had the opportunity to go down to FIU with my father. Certainly didn't want to pass that chance up, and didn't know it would end up being 4 years, but it was an awesome 4 years and enjoyed it. And living down there in Miami and getting exposed to just recruiting in that part of the world certainly has helped me, from the recruiting aspect till now, just knowing, what it's like down there and who you're dealing with. And gave me my first opportunity to coach quarterbacks. Ron Turner was the head coach, who obviously was the head coach at Illinois when they went to the Sugar Bowl, offensive coordinator for the Chicago Bears, and numerous other teams. He gave me that chance to go coach quarterbacks, which obviously I'll forever be grateful for. And we had some tough spots, and eventually we got let go down there. And then I went to University of Tennessee, where I was assistant quarterbacks coach with Mike Canales. Larry Scott was the offensive coordinator, and then Butch Jones, obviously the head coach. Funny story on that, Coach Canales actually recruited me out of high school when he was at NC State. So I've known him since I was a senior in high school, and then, to be able to go coach with him certainly was a unique experience that obviously being in athletics affords you the unique experiences like that. So we got let go there, moved back to North Carolina, did the real estate for a little bit, and then was fortunate enough to get on with Coach Garrett here at Lafayette. And it's been a tremendous experience, great kids, great environment, and certainly excited about the future here.
A veteran in the business, Ron Cooper, I believe it was Coach Cooper that made this comment. If not, it was one of those other staff members during your years at FIU, just talking about how if you had not known that you and your dad were father and son, that you would have never realized it by the way the dynamics were in the office. It was just strictly professional, which was a real compliment.
Yeah, Coach Cooper's an unbelievably great guy. Obviously a former Pirate too. He's certainly helped me along the way wherever he's been able to. But I think that's big. He's your father outside the office, but in the office, he's the offensive line coach. You got to treat it that way because it's professional environment. It's the way you should go about business. We certainly enjoyed working together.
And Kort, I know you've got to go here in a minute to a meeting, but two follow-up questions. As a player, you're focused on playing, and you understand the role of a coach, but you don't really know what it's like to be a coach because you're obviously still a player. But looking back on your time now, what did you learn from your playing days that really helps you being a coach now? And then also too, if I asked one of your players about you, what would you want that player to say about you and your coaching style?
Well, I think what I've learned the most is, you got to be a team player, whether you're a player or a coach. It's the ultimate team sport. You got to do what's asked of you, and you do it to the best of your ability. So I think that's helped me as far as, if I'm asked to go coach running backs, I'll go coach running backs. If I'm asked to coach tight ends, I'll go coach tight ends or quarterbacks or receivers or whatever. I think that's helped me as far as my transition in the coaching world. Is just, you got to do what's best for the program and wherever that leads you. So I think I draw on that the most. And then, my guys today, I would just hope they would say, I treat them fairly, treat them with respect, demand from them. But at the same time, be a shoulder for them to lean on too. Because, at the end of the day, they're 18, 19 years old, and you're trying to help them develop to become better men. So, you got to help them on and off the field. And hopefully they would say that, I do as much as I can within the confines of the rules that, can help them be better men, so that when they leave, a place like Lafayette, that they know what's expected of them, and they can go function and achieve as much success as they want to achieve once they're out in the real world.
Absolutely. Well said. Kort, we certainly appreciate your time this morning. It's been great catching up. Enjoy having you on the show, and we'd love to have you back on sometime down the road.
I appreciate you guys having me on. It's always good to reminisce a little bit about Pirate football and talk about Greenville and East Carolina and how much it's grown and then what it is today, and certainly excited to watch it continue to grow, and happy to always jump on with you guys.
Absolutely. There's no doubt that Coach Houston and this staff, with your father, they're going to get this thing turned around. It's just going to take some time. I think anyone that has a good grasp of the situation and kind of the hand they were dealt realizes that. But definitely expect a lot of wins in the Pirates' future, and certainly wish you and the Leopards nothing but the best up there in PA.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, Kort.
Take care. All right, Jay, I think you're still with me there, but
yeah,
quite the conversation there with Kort Shankweiler, former teammate of yours from 2002 to 2006. I guess it was 2003 that you joined the program, or maybe 2004.
Yeah, I joined in 04. So so I was with Kort for 3.5 years when I transferred in. One of the best guys you'll ever meet, best teammate, leader in the program, and just one of those special guys that you're thankful that you meet when you're in college, and you have that brotherhood with.
Absolutely, and folks, if you're tuning in right now, this is, I believe, it was our 22nd conversation with a former East Carolina football player in this series. So we're nearing the halfway point, and these are all archived right here on Facebook and YouTube, but also the audio only if you want to listen to it in the car. And you can download it on SoundCloud or Anchor. So definitely check out those previous conversations, the ones you've missed, some excellent behind-the-scenes perspective from former Pirates. And Jay, this afternoon, I know you may join me if you're able. We're going to be talking with Damon West, who's a tremendous motivational speaker and also author. He played Division I football himself back at North Texas in the mid-'90s. Unfortunately, had a career-ending injury his freshman year, I think it was, and then had a very good job, made some poor decisions, went down the wrong road in life, and was actually sentenced to life in prison, but was paroled after 9 years and really turned his life around, committed his life to the Lord, and really looking forward to talking with him this afternoon and sharing his story.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome to him, and just kind of with his background and how he's changed his life, so much to learn and ask.
And actually, you name it, he's spoken to a lot of the big time programs out there. I mean, whether it's Clemson, Texas, just different ones around the country, and coaches bringing him in to tell his story so he can positively impact their players. But make sure, we appreciate you tuning in, but like, follow, subscribe wherever you're watching, and would certainly love for you to join us this afternoon. If you can't join us then go back and watch it, because it will certainly be a tremendous conversation with Damon West, motivational speaker and author. For Jay Sonhalter, I am Bubba Rosenbaum, and you're watching 50 Pirates in 50 Days on the Sports Objective Podcast. We'll talk to you soon. Go Pirates.